Discipline means making yourself do what needs to be done, even when you have no desire to do it. This is a reality most people try to avoid, yet it is the exact line that separates success from failure. The title makes it clear: how to force yourself to be disciplined. Because if we are honest, waiting until you feel ready means you will wait endlessly. If you rely on motivation, you will always come up short. Discipline is not a decision reserved for good days. It is a commitment you make daily, especially on the days when it feels most difficult. Consider this carefully. How many chances have slipped away because you postponed action? How often has comfort taken progress away from you? This is not a discussion of theory. This is about real life. It is about learning to take control of yourself in the moments when excuses are the loudest. If you can force discipline into your life, you can transform every area of it. And that is exactly what you are about to learn. Chapter 1. Confront your laziness head-on and refuse to bargain. Discipline is not something you accidentally find. It does not arrive at your doorstep one morning with a friendly smile. Discipline is something you must face, something you must challenge, and above all, something you must force into your life when everything inside you wants to avoid it. When you feel the pull of laziness, when your body tells you to stay in bed, when your mind suggests that you deserve rest, that is the precise moment you must get up and refuse to negotiate. Because the moment you negotiate with laziness, it will win every time. Laziness never runs out of excuses. It always has another reason prepared. But when you refuse to bargain and take a firm stand, you begin to develop the kind of strength that changes your life. Laziness is deceptive. It does not always appear as doing nothing. Sometimes it looks like endless scrolling on your phone. Sometimes it shows up as eating when you are not hungry. Sometimes it disguises itself as busy work that keeps you from doing what truly matters. That is how it succeeds. It convinces you that you are doing enough when in reality you are avoiding what is hard. And the truth is this: progress lives in difficulty. The things that push you, make you uncomfortable, and demand full focus are the things that shape discipline within you. If you want to become disciplined, you must learn to recognize laziness for what it truly is: the enemy of your future. When you wake up and feel the weight of the bed pulling you back, that is discipline calling you. You either respond or you turn away. But here is the reality. Each time you turn away from discipline, you strengthen laziness. Each time you choose comfort instead of action, you train your mind to obey laziness. Then, when it matters most, when life demands focus and effort, you will already be conditioned to quit. That is why negotiating with laziness is so dangerous. Even the smallest excuses begin shaping who you become. You may think you are just skipping one workout, but what you are really doing is building the habit of rejecting discipline. Ask yourself honestly, how many times have you chosen what was easy instead of what was necessary? How many times have you said you would do it tomorrow, only to find tomorrow looked exactly the same as today? That was laziness bargaining with you, and you accepted the offer. If you truly want a better life, you cannot keep agreeing to that deal. You must confront laziness directly. Look at it clearly and refuse to compromise. Say no. Take action immediately. Even when your mind protests, that is how discipline is forced into your system. The reason so many people stay stuck is not a lack of knowledge or opportunity. It is because they negotiate with laziness. They wait to feel ready. They wait for perfect conditions. They wait for motivation. But those moments rarely arrive when expected. If you sit and wait for the perfect feeling, you will wait your entire life. Discipline begins when you act before you feel prepared. It begins when you move despite laziness. The mind is skilled at creating comfort. Tells you stories. You worked hard yesterday, take today off. You are too tired right now, do it later. Missing one day will not matter. These thoughts are not harmless. They are restraints. They keep you trapped at the same level with the same outcomes, the same life. When you accept them, you weaken yourself without noticing. You may believe you are resting, but in reality, you are training yourself to give up. That is why you must learn to recognize these thoughts and shut them down before they take control. Think about the people you respect most. They are not more gifted or more fortunate than you. They simply stopped bargaining with laziness. They built discipline by ignoring excuses and forcing themselves to act even when they did not feel like it. That is the truth. It is not glamorous or exciting. It is the ability to say no to weakness and yes to the actions that move you forward. Forcing discipline is not about punishing yourself. It is about respect. It is about valuing your future enough to make difficult decisions today that benefit you tomorrow. When you refuse to negotiate with laziness, you are telling yourself that your future is worth the effort, your goals are worth the discomfort. That is not cruelty. That is self-respect at its highest level. Laziness never completely disappears. It will return tomorrow and the day after. You cannot remove it, but you can weaken it. Each time you refuse to give in, you take back strength. Over time, the balance shifts. Laziness loses power. Discipline grows stronger. Eventually, discipline becomes part of who you are, not just something you practice. But it all starts with one moment, the moment you stop negotiating. It will not feel easy. Your body will resist. Your mind will argue. Every excuse will surface. But that is the exact moment discipline is formed. Not when things are easy or convenient, but when they are hard and uncomfortable. That is where strength begins. That is where a disciplined life is built. Ask yourself now, what have you been delaying? Where has laziness been winning in your life? Your health, your studies, your career, whatever it is, understand this. The longer you negotiate, the more time you lose, and time never returns. That is the true cost of laziness, lost opportunities. So how do you confront it? Start small. Choose one task you know you need to do and do it immediately. Do not think. Do not argue. Do not check how you feel. Stand up and act. That small win breaks the pattern. Once you break it once, you can break it again. This is how discipline is created. Small victories stacked until they form a foundation laziness cannot destroy. Each time you defeat laziness, you gain more than progress. You gain confidence. You start trusting yourself. You know that when laziness shows up again, you will be ready. You will not bargain. You will act. That trust changes everything. When you trust yourself, your life shifts in ways you cannot imagine. There will always be people who say they cannot do it, that it is too hard, that they will start later. Do not become one of them. They are waiting for a moment that will never arrive. Instead, become the person who says, I will do it now. I will act even when I do not feel like it. I will not negotiate. That person builds a life of growth, freedom, and success. And that person can be you. Remember this. The next time laziness calls, do not respond. When it whispers, silence it. When it offers comfort, reject the deal. Stand firm. Take action. Build strength one decision at a time. The moment you refuse to negotiate with laziness is the moment you force discipline into your life. And discipline is the path that changes everything. Chapter 2. Take small actions immediately to train instant response. Discipline is not built through massive leaps. It does not appear suddenly after one decision. It is formed through small actions taken exactly when they are required. Each delay weakens your ability to respond. True discipline is developed by acting the moment the thought appears, without hesitation and without negotiation. Those instant actions train your mind and body to move without delay, creating a foundation of strength in every area of life. Think about how often opportunities disappear because you paused. You felt the urge to exercise but waited and skipped it. You knew you needed to make a call but postponed it until it never happened. You had an idea to write something down but decided it could wait and then forgot it. These moments seem harmless, but they train you to ignore your own direction. They teach your mind that hesitation is acceptable. The more you allow hesitation, the weaker your discipline becomes. Now imagine the opposite. Every time you think of acting, you move. You think of drinking water and you drink it. You think of reading and you open the book. You remember a task and you start it immediately. That pattern builds power, creates instant response. It removes laziness before it grows and stops procrastination before it takes root. That is how you gain control over yourself. Immediate action works because the mind is quick to create excuses. Within seconds, it produces reasons to stop. You are tired. You will do it later. It is not urgent. But those excuses only appear when you wait. If you act before the debate begins, you win. You cut excuses off before they exist. That is why small immediate actions are more powerful than big delayed ones. To train this, start simple. When your alarm goes off, get up immediately. Do not wait. Do not check your phone. Stand up. That small action reinforces control. Apply the same rule to small tasks. Do them right away, even if they take only seconds. Each time you act instantly, you reinforce the identity of someone who moves, not someone who waits. Discipline is not about huge goals alone. It is about proving to yourself that your actions follow your decisions. When you decide and delay, you teach yourself doubt. When you decide and act immediately, you build trust. That trust becomes confidence. Confidence becomes consistency. And consistency becomes discipline. And consistency creates a disciplined life, but it always starts with small actions taken immediately. You may believe small actions are too minor to matter, but they are the seeds of real change. When you act instantly on a small task, you train the same mental muscle that later allows you to respond instantly to much bigger challenges. Picking up a book today develops the same discipline that will help you start a business tomorrow. Getting out of bed the moment your alarm rings builds the same strength that will help you stay steady under pressure later. You cannot skip the small steps. They are the training ground for the bigger ones. If you want to challenge yourself, apply this simple rule. When you think of something necessary, count down from 3 and then move. 3, 2, 1, act. Do not let the thought linger. This rule removes hesitation. It breaks the habit of waiting and forces a new reflex to form. Act now. Over time, you will not need to count. Your body will respond automatically. That is what real discipline feels like, not constant force, but a trained reflex. Here is the truth. You will not always feel like acting immediately. Some days, even small actions will feel heavier than they should. Some days you will want to delay. That is where training matters. You are not building a life where everything feels easy. You are building a mind that acts regardless of emotion. Feelings change. One day you feel motivated, the next you do not. If your life depends on feelings, your results will always be inconsistent. But if your life depends on trained response, discipline becomes stable. Look at anyone who has achieved consistency in their field. They are not waiting for inspiration every day. They train themselves to act the moment a decision was made. That is why they succeed. They may not act perfectly, but they act without delay. Discipline is not about perfection. It is about consistent action over time. And consistency cannot exist without instant response. Waiting does more than waste time. It weakens self-respect. Each time you delay, you feel disappointment, knowing you should have acted but did not. That small disappointment grows into frustration, and repeated frustration turns into self-doubt. That is the danger of hesitation. But when you act immediately, even on small things, you feel pride. That pride fuels motivation. Motivation makes the next action easier. Soon your life fills with momentum instead of regret. Discipline is not a gift. It is a choice repeated until it becomes natural. The fastest way to train that choice is instant action. When a productive thought appears, move before excuses arrive. When resistance shows up, step into it before it grows. Each instant action reminds you that you are stronger than hesitation. Anyone can start this right now. No money is required. No tools are required. No special skills are required. All you need is the willingness to act the moment the thought appears. The first time feels uncomfortable. The 10th time feels easier. The 100th time feels automatic. That is how instant action becomes habit. Everyone has the same 24 hours. Some build disciplined lives. Others waste their days. The difference is not time. It is response. Some act immediately. Others wait. The choice is made in the moment a decision enters your mind. If you want a stronger future, stop giving power to hesitation. Honor your thoughts with action. When you feel the urge to do something beneficial, move. When a task is waiting, handle it now. When the choice is delay or act, choose action. These moments may feel small, but they shape who you become. Discipline is built here, not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Take small actions immediately and you train instant response. That response protects you from laziness, procrastination, and wasted time. It becomes a tool for focus and strength. It becomes the foundation of a life that grows stronger each day. When you choose instant action, you tell yourself your future matters more than comfort. You declare that excuses no longer control you. You claim control over your life. Repeated through small actions, this message changes everything. So when the next decision appears, do not wait, do not hesitate, do not negotiate. Move. Respond. The life you want is waiting for the person who learns to act without delay. Chapter 3: Control your thoughts before they control your decisions. The greatest battles of discipline are fought internally. Every action begins as a thought, and every decision is shaped by thinking. If you do not control your thoughts, your life will be driven by impulses, emotions, and distortions. When you master your thinking, you position yourself to make stronger and clearer choices. Discipline becomes possible when you understand the power of thought. Most people underestimate how deeply thoughts influence life. They believe actions exist separately, but action is simply the extension of what stays in the mind. A person who repeatedly tells themselves they will never improve eventually stops trying. A person who believes they will fail never begins. Thoughts are not harmless. They are the seeds of decisions, and decisions shape the future. This is why controlling thought is the foundation of discipline. Without awareness, the mind becomes filled with negativity. One negative thought leads to another until hesitation, fear, and excuses dominate. You tell yourself you are tired, incapable, or that effort is pointless. If allowed to remain, these thoughts shape behavior. Slowly, you avoid difficulty and settle for less. Over time, life reflects that weakness. The good news is you can regain control. You can train your mind the same way you choose what food to eat. You do not consume everything without thought. You choose carefully because it affects your health. Thoughts must be treated the same way. Not every thought deserves space. You must decide which to keep and which to replace. This is the discipline of thought management. The first step is awareness. Most people operate on autopilot, assuming thoughts are facts. In reality, most thoughts are opinions, interpretations, or echoes of the past. Ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Is this thought moving me forward or holding me back? Is it building discipline or destroying it? Asking these questions separates you from the thought and gives you control. The second step is replacement. You cannot erase a thought without replacing it. If your mind says, I cannot do this, replace it with, I can improve through effort. If it says, I do not feel like starting, replace it with, starting creates momentum. Replacement is not denial. It is direction. You must also manage what feeds your mind. Environment shapes thinking. The content you consume, the conversations you have, and the people around you influence thought patterns. Constant complaining breeds negative thinking. Endless entertainment trains the mind toward comfort. Discipline requires an environment that supports focus and growth. Reflection is another powerful tool. Each day, examine how your thoughts influenced your actions. Ask where your thinking helped you and where it hurt you. Reflection builds awareness and corrects patterns before they harden. Feelings often follow thoughts. Undisciplined thinking creates unstable emotions. Controlled thinking creates emotional stability. When emotions are steady, decisions improve. Thought control directly affects energy, focus, and follow-through. You must also challenge irrational thoughts. The mind exaggerates difficulty and predicts failure. These are fears, not facts. Discipline grows when you confront fear with truth. Tasks can be broken into steps. Readiness grows through action. Failure is possible, but so is success. Controlling thoughts is not ignoring difficulty. It is choosing your mental response before acting. One person says this is difficult but manageable. Another says this is difficult so I will quit. Same situation, different outcome. Make this practical. Notice your thoughts when the alarm rings. Notice them when a hard task appears. Replace them instantly. Instead of 5 more minutes, say getting up strengthens me. Instead of later, say now builds discipline. Instead of this is too much, say I will take the first step. As you win mental battles, trust in yourself grows. You stop feeling controlled by emotions. You live intentionally. That is discipline, living by choice rather than reaction. Discipline brings freedom. When thoughts are clear, you are free from impulse and doubt. You choose actions instead of being dragged by feelings. That freedom creates strength and peace. Those who remain stuck never control their thinking. Those who grow master their inner dialogue. From now on, treat each thought as a visitor. Some add value. Others cause harm. You decide who stays. Take control early. Direct your mind before it directs you. Replace doubt with determination and hesitation with action. This is how discipline is built. Chapter 4. Force repetition until your brain accepts new behavior. Human behavior is pattern-based. What you repeat becomes automatic. The brain adapts without judgment. Repeat procrastination and it becomes natural. Repeat strength and discipline forms. Repetition rewires behavior. New behaviors feel uncomfortable at first. Repetition removes that discomfort. Most people quit before adaptation occurs. Discipline requires pushing through discomfort until repetition creates familiarity. Resistance is normal. It signals adjustment, not failure. If you stop, resistance strengthens. If you persist, resistance breaks. Consistency matters more than intensity. Small daily actions rewire the brain. Random bursts do not. Expect gradual change. Repetition is the path. Repetition builds proof. Each repetition shows you are capable. Proof weakens doubt and builds belief. Boredom is part of training. Repetition without excitement builds discipline. That seriousness separates those who succeed from those who quit. Repetition shapes identity. Eventually, discipline becomes who you are. Choose one behavior and repeat it daily. Force consistency. Let your brain adjust. Repetition feels slow but is the fastest path to change. Once the brain accepts a behavior, struggle disappears. That is freedom. Discipline is forced repetition until the brain adapts. At first you carry the habit. Then the habit carries you. Chapter 5. Replace negative self-talk with strict self-direction. The way you speak to yourself determines discipline. Words either strengthen or weaken action. Negative self-talk creates excuses and fear. Discipline requires strict self-direction. Negative self-talk reinforces weakness. The mind follows repeated language. Strict self-direction replaces doubt with command. Speak clearly and directly to yourself. Vague language creates hesitation. Clear direction creates action. Use commands, not questions. Recognize negative language. Interrupt it. Replace it immediately. Give precise instructions, not vague encouragement. Start by walking for 10 minutes. Precision removes space for excuses. Negative self-talk survives on vagueness, but strict direction destroys it through clarity. You must also understand that strict self-direction requires firmness. You cannot give yourself gentle commands and expect strong results. When your mind says, "I don't feel like it," you must answer with authority. Do it now. The tone matters. You are not negotiating with yourself. You are leading yourself. Just as a coach gives firm instructions to an athlete, you must guide yourself with the same seriousness. If you treat your own words casually, your actions will be weak. If you treat them seriously, your actions will follow with strength. Self-discipline grows as you strengthen this inner dialogue. In the beginning, resistance will appear. The negative voice will push back. It will argue with you and remind you of past failures. But each time you replace it, it loses strength. The voice of strict direction grows stronger and eventually becomes dominant. You begin to trust your own words because they no longer contain excuses. They carry authority. That trust builds confidence. It is also important to understand that negative self-talk is not always harsh. Sometimes it disguises itself as kindness. It tells you that you deserve rest before the work is done. It tells you that taking it easy today will not matter. It tells you that tomorrow will be a better time to start. These thoughts feel comforting, but they are dangerous. They are traps that keep you weak. Strict self-direction cuts through false comfort with clarity. Says rest is earned, not given. Do the work first. It says tomorrow will not improve unless you act today. This is how you protect yourself from the deception of comfort. Your environment also shapes your self-talk. If you surround yourself with people who complain or lower their standards, their language will echo in your mind. You will repeat their negativity even when they are not around. That is why you must choose carefully whose voices you allow near you. Surround yourself with people who speak with clarity, strength, and direction. Their language will influence yours, and your inner dialogue will rise to match it. A practical exercise for replacing negative self-talk is to write down the excuses you repeat most often. Look at them honestly. Then, next to each one, write the strict direction that should replace it. For example, I am too tired becomes, I will begin for 5 minutes regardless of energy. I will never succeed becomes, I will practice daily until I improve. Read these commands often until they become automatic. When the old excuse appears, the new direction is already prepared. Strict self-direction is not cruelty. It is honesty combined with firmness. Negative self-talk weakens you because it exaggerates limits and hides strength. Strict direction tells the truth. You may not feel ready, but you are capable of action. You may not see results yet, but repetition will bring them. You may be uncomfortable, but you are strong enough to continue. That truth may be uncomfortable, but it builds discipline. The goal is to develop an inner voice you trust completely. A voice that makes no excuses, wastes no time, and lowers no standards. A voice that gives clear commands and expects follow-through. When you build that voice, you stop relying on motivation or inspiration. Your own words drive your actions. Discipline becomes part of who you are. Over time, the shift becomes clear. The negative voice that once controlled you fades. The strict direction you practice becomes automatic. You wake up and hear, stand up now. You face a task and hear, start immediately. You feel resistance and hear, do not stop until it is done. That inner leadership guides you with strength. It feels like having a strong leader inside you, always pushing you toward growth. Every disciplined person you admire built this skill intentionally. They did not silence negativity by chance. They replaced it daily with strict direction until it became natural. You can do the same. It requires awareness, replacement, precision, and firmness. It requires daily practice. But once it is built, you are no longer controlled by destructive self-talk. You live with clarity, and discipline carries you forward regardless of how you feel. From this moment on, decide that your inner dialogue will serve you, not sabotage you. Remove space for negative self-talk. Replace every weakness with a command. Speak to yourself as a leader, not a victim. Direct yourself firmly toward action. Remember, the words you repeat daily are shaping the discipline that defines your future. Chapter 6. Use pressure to act when comfort pulls you back. Comfort is one of the greatest enemies of discipline. Feels safe, pleasant, and familiar. But when you give in to it repeatedly, it slowly pulls you away from progress. Comfort whispers that you can delay, that you can rest longer, that effort can wait. At first it seems harmless, but over time it weakens your standards. To break its hold, you must use pressure to create conditions that demand action when comfort tries to stop you. Pressure is not the enemy. It often brings out your best. Think of deadlines. How often have you produced more in a few pressured hours than in weeks of comfort? That is not a lack of ability. It is the effect of pressure forcing action. Most people wait for external pressure to arrive. Discipline grows when you apply pressure to yourself before life forces it on you. Comfort has no urgency. Convinces you that tomorrow is equal to today. Pressure creates urgency. It removes the option to delay. When pressure is applied correctly, comfort loses its power. One way to create pressure is accountability. When you share a commitment with others, you add weight to it. Comfort can easily convince you to break private promises, but public commitments create pressure to follow through. Deadlines are another form of pressure. A goal without a deadline invites comfort to stretch time endlessly. Short deadlines create urgency and force focus. They compress time and accelerate growth. Financial pressure can also strengthen discipline. When you invest money, you create consequences. Paying for a class, equipment, or commitment increases the cost of inaction. When nothing is at stake, comfort dominates. When something is on the line, action follows. Raising standards creates pressure as well. Accepting mediocrity gives comfort control. Higher standards demand effort. This pressure pushes you to act seriously, even when motivation is low. Visualizing the cost of comfort also creates pressure. Picture the regret, lost time, and missed opportunities that result from choosing ease repeatedly. That awareness creates urgency and drives action. Pressure is not about stress. It is about structure. It creates conditions where discipline becomes the default. Comfort whispers. Pressure commands. The voice you listen to determines your direction. In moments of weakness, apply pressure through firm commands. Speak clearly. Do it now. No delay. That firmness removes negotiation and forces movement. Responsibility is another powerful pressure. When others depend on you, comfort loses influence. Commitments that affect others force discipline because the cost of failure increases. Comfort will always exist, but pressure can overpower it. Comfort invites rest. Pressure demands action. Choosing pressure repeatedly builds strength. Create pressure intentionally. Set strict timelines. Remove easy exits. Make commitments visible. Raise standards. Attach value to action. When comfort calls, answer with pressure. Act immediately. Chapter 7. Build mental toughness by choosing effort over relief. Mental toughness is the ability to continue when everything urges you to stop. Life presents a constant choice. Effort or relief. Effort builds strength. Relief maintains weakness. Toughness is not built in comfort. It is built when effort feels heavy and escape is tempting. Each choice trains your identity. You become either someone who seeks relief or someone who embraces effort. Relief often disguises itself as harmless. Small escapes accumulate into patterns. Those patterns either weaken or strengthen you. Effort is uncomfortable, but temporary. Relief feels good briefly, but regret lasts longer. Mental toughness is choosing long-term reward over short-term escape. Start small. Finish tasks fully. Stay focused. Complete what you start. Each small act of effort increases tolerance for discomfort. Seek effort deliberately. Choose stairs over elevators. Stay with challenges longer. Finish even when tired. Toughness is trained through repetition. Self-respect grows through effort. Each time you push through, trust in yourself increases. Relief erodes that trust. Effort requires patience. Results lag behind action. Disciplined people accept this delay and keep building anyway. Set rules you do not break. These rules protect you when relief tempts you. The beginning is always hardest. Push through the first resistance and effort becomes manageable. Effort is not punishment. It is training. Every challenge strengthens your mind. Relief cannot build character. Only effort can. When you stay when it is hard, you grow. When you act despite fear, you grow. When you finish despite discomfort, you grow. These moments define toughness. They separate the disciplined from the undisciplined, the achievers from the average. Every person has access to these moments. The difference lies in whether you choose effort or relief. To build toughness, you must deliberately expose yourself to challenge. Do not wait for difficulty to appear on its own. Create it. Wake up earlier than feels comfortable. Push yourself to spend more time refining your craft. Hold yourself to higher standards when no one is watching. Choosing effort voluntarily strengthens you. Then, when life demands effort from you, you are already prepared. The more you train under self-imposed pressure, the less likely you are to break when real pressure arrives. Eventually, you will understand that effort is what gives life meaning. Relief feels empty because it creates nothing. It is temporary. Effort produces results. Effort builds skill. Effort creates confidence. Effort leaves a legacy. When you look back, you will not feel proud of the moments you escaped into comfort. You will be proud of the moments you chose effort and proved to yourself that you were stronger than you believed. That pride lasts far longer than any temporary relief. From today forward, begin noticing your daily decisions. When comfort pulls you toward relief, pause and ask yourself which choice will make you stronger, which decision will make you proud later, which path builds discipline. The answer is almost always effort. Make the choice quickly. Do not give relief time to argue. Take the harder path and remind yourself that this is how toughness is built. Over time, you will feel the shift. Tasks that once overwhelmed you will feel manageable. Challenges that once broke you will feel lighter. You will carry yourself with quiet confidence, knowing you can rely on your own strength. This transformation does not come from reading or wishing. It comes from repeatedly choosing effort when relief calls. This is the law of mental toughness. Each time you choose effort over relief, you grow stronger. Each time you choose relief over effort, you grow weaker. The choice is yours. When effort becomes your consistent decision, discipline stops being something you chase and becomes something you live naturally. Chapter 8. Fight impulses by reminding yourself of long-term pain. Impulses are sudden urges that pull you toward comfort, distraction, or instant pleasure. They appear without warning and, if followed, lead you away from discipline. You feel the urge to skip training, eat poorly, delay important work, or quit before finishing. In the moment, the impulse feels harmless, even justified. But impulses are traps. They offer short-term relief and create long-term pain. To build discipline, you must train yourself to fight these urges by remembering the cost of giving in. Every choice has a consequence. Impulses hide the future cost and focus your attention on the present. The unhealthy food feels good now. Skipping work feels easier now. Delaying feels lighter now. But later you feel weaker, behind, and regretful. That regret is the pain impulses never show you. To defeat them, pause and project yourself forward. Clearly imagine the cost of surrendering. Remember the times you gave in. Did the comfort last, or did it fade quickly, leaving guilt behind? The truth is that regret lasts far longer than pleasure. When you remember this, impulses lose their disguise and reveal themselves as thieves of long-term strength. Discipline trains the mind to think beyond the moment. Anyone can choose what feels good now. The discipline choose based on tomorrow. This skill separates growth from stagnation. When you chase impulses, you live in cycles of starting and stopping. When you fight them with long-term vision, you regain control. Visualization is one of your strongest tools. When the impulse appears, picture the pain that follows. See yourself with no progress because you skipped again. Feel the stress of unfinished work piling up. Picture the opportunities lost because you quit. Let that image outweigh the comfort of now. You must also remember that impulses are temporary. They feel intense, but they pass if you resist. Most people fail because they never wait them out. If you pause, remind yourself of the cost, and hold firm, the urge weakens. Each victory builds strength and confidence. Awareness is essential. Identify what triggers your impulses. Fatigue, stress, boredom. When you know the trigger, you are prepared. You decide in advance how you will respond. You are no longer caught off guard. Replace the impulse with action. Start a small part of the task. Drink water instead of indulging. Move your body instead of scrolling. Redirection weakens the urge and retrains your brain. The cost of obeying impulses is heavy. One mistake is not the problem. Repetition is. Repeated impulses create weakness, regret, and missed opportunity. Everyone living with regret today once chose impulse yesterday. That truth must be remembered when the urge appears. Impulses will never disappear. The goal is control, not elimination. Create a pause between urge and action. That pause is power. That pause decides whether you live in regret or discipline. At first, resisting feels exhausting. Over time, it becomes natural. You stop struggling and start dismissing urges quickly. You gain mastery over yourself. That mastery becomes pride and fuel for discipline. Pain must be reframed. The pain of effort is temporary. The pain of regret lasts. When an impulse appears, Ask which pain you are choosing. Discipline is choosing the pain that strengthens you, not the pain that destroys you. Remember the life you want. Impulses care only about now. You must care about later. That vision gives you control. Over time, fighting impulses becomes one of your greatest strengths. You trust yourself completely. You are no longer controlled by urges. Discipline becomes the art of choosing long-term vision over short-term desire. From this moment on, refuse to act blindly on impulse. Pause. Remember tomorrow's pain. Let it outweigh today's comfort. Then act according to your higher standard. Each victory strengthens your discipline and proves your future matters more than momentary desire. Chapter 9. Direct your energy only toward what truly matters. Each day you wake with limited energy. That energy can build a meaningful life or be wasted on distraction. Discipline is not just action. It is directed action. Without focus, you can work endlessly and still feel empty. True discipline measures progress, not busyness. Many people feel exhausted yet unfulfilled because their energy is scattered. Messages, scrolling, opinions, trivial tasks consume their attention. They are busy, but nothing meaningful is built. Effort without focus is wasted effort. Discipline requires saying no to the unimportant and yes to the essential. Clarity is the first step. You must define what truly matters. Without clarity, you are pulled everywhere. Identify the actions that create the greatest results in your life. Once clear, align your energy strictly with those priorities. Protect your focus because the world will gladly waste it for you. Identify your top 3 daily priorities and complete them first. These are not busy tasks. They are actions tied to long-term goals. Do the important before the trivial. Create boundaries. Discipline is also about refusal. Every yes to the meaningless is a no to the meaningful. Say no without guilt to protect your energy. Avoid false productivity. Endless organizing, constant checking, and overthinking feel productive but create no impact. Ask constantly whether an action moves you forward. If not, redirect immediately. This habit separates progress from busyness. Energy applies to all areas of life. Arguments, negativity, and people-pleasing drain you. Learning, health, and skill-building strengthen you. Choose ruthlessly. Identify peak energy hours and reserve them for important work. Guard that time fiercely. Track where your energy goes. Awareness exposes leaks. Each distraction caught is an opportunity to redirect. Protect your energy even if it disappoints others. Discipline is intentional, not selfish. If you do not protect your energy, no one else will. Life is short. Wasted energy creates regret. Discipline ensures your time builds something lasting. Define your highest priorities. Measure every action against them. The disciplined life is not doing everything. It is doing the right things consistently. Chapter 10. Condition your mind to act without waiting for motivation. Motivation is unreliable. Discipline is not. Action creates energy. Waiting for inspiration wastes time. Conditioning removes emotion from action. Non-negotiables build consistency. Immediate action kills excuses. Identity drives discipline. Structure removes indecision. Act regardless of feeling. That is conditioning. Stop waiting. Train yourself to move. Discipline is built through repetition, not emotion. When you master this, you become unstoppable.